What's going on, guys? Pansy here. This is part 2 of me tagging every class. I did manage to get through all of them, and I wanted to wait till Scholar came out and needed a few days to get to this, but we've tagged every single class and played every spec in the game over the past month and something. And yeah, I got a lot to say about each of the classes. I think I had a really good time throughout this whole process. This is what BDO is about. I wish the tag event stays and it's permanent, because this is freedom. This is what makes the game fun, being able to experience all the classes and playing all your characters. So I really hope PA do make it permanent someday. But yeah, let me get started here. I'm going to just be talking through my experiences in the last video. Go check out part 1 if you haven't seen it already. All the classes you see ticked on my screen right now, I've already spoken about them in the last video. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the rest. So go get started on your grind. Go start your favorite gathering rotation, because this is just a straight talk through from my end. Unfortunately, been pretty busy IRL. We'll be sure to put more into it when I make my final video once all the class balances and changes are done. So starting off, let's start off with the casters. So one thing I want to say is I am a witch main. I've been maining witch for months now, and I've been playing her awakening because it was so good. And now so many other classes are at that point, but I wanted to write witch off now that all these other classes got buffed and stuff. But all of a sudden they're like, you know what, witch can have some buffs too. So they buffed her. So it messes the whole experience here, because I was looking for a new class to main and tag, and now it's like, well, my witch is doing pretty good still. But anyway, so I started off with the wizard. So with witch and wizard, I'm not very good at succession. I spent a couple hours there, but I think a lot of players are much better than me, so I haven't been bringing out their full potential. But hey, as far as wizard goes, his succession for PvP is great, but his awakening for PvE, it's as what people have been saying. It's pretty damn strong. He's got protection, he's got mobility, he's got utility, he's got damage and AoE size. He's a strong class, man. But personally, because I've been playing witch for so long, I'm probably going to lean towards the witch, because I'm already comfortable playing it. But with the recent buffs, her passive DPS just through doing our usual rotation has gone up, and now I'm at the point where I'm coming up with different rotations at different spots to nuke those mobs down as quick as possible, which it's great, because before, that whole fissure weaving, relying on that was annoying. But now at least there are options depending on the spot, depending on your AP. You can nuke down mobs a bit better. But wizard, I absolutely busted. Awakened witch is pretty strong still, but succession witch for DPS is great. It's just that it's very high APM, hitting all your skills and stuff, and it takes practice, which I haven't put enough time into, but I had fun doing it. I tried it out at DSR, and pretty damn competitive, even in my hands, and in the hands of someone who's actually good at it. She's pretty freaking strong. So solid classes. Like the casters are in a good spot right now PvE wise. So in PvP they're always going to be in their caster roles, but PvE wise they're doing pretty damn good. I think you can go with either one depending on the playstyle you enjoy. If you like that more static playstyle with the witch, that might be for you. If you want something more mobile or super armor heavy, wizard's pretty damn good. So let's talk about Striker next. So the reason why Striker, I believe I skipped him last time, was because the succession buffs didn't come through yet, and they buffed him twice. So now succession Striker does damage. High APM, but he does damage. Only downside with him is his PvP is still lacking. I know there's some changes coming in Global Lab in terms of the CCs and stuff for him. I think they're giving like a PvP stun for his Rampaging Predator or something, but something about his PvP, like Succession Striker, it just doesn't have it. I think they've really got to look at the overall kit and how his class works and come up with something. I don't know why they added made so many changes like a couple months ago regarding his PvP capability, but they kind of fell short. But in terms of PvE though, he does damage, man. He's a very high skill ceiling class in terms of the high APM and the rotations and stuff, but he's a pretty solid class overall. You put in a lot of effort, you'll get a lot out of it. But then again, there are other classes which put in less effort and get the same amount out of it, and even more in some cases. So strong class if you like Succession Striker. The thing about Succession Striker is he's always felt like he's built different. Like he takes hits like a champ. the tankiest class I played in all of the game. Second to Suck Nova with her 50 DP buff or whatever it was, but he is something, man. Like, it's just something about him that he just takes hits differently. Even comparing his awakening to Succession, he's just so much tankier. All right, sorry, had to step away, and now I'm back after like 45 minutes. This is why I haven't been able to do much content lately. Anyway, we're talking about Awakened Striker. I absolutely loved Awakened Striker. His mobility, his sustain, his AoE size, his damage, his ease of play is one of the classes I recommend to people when they're looking for a low APM class, because majority of his rotation, it revolves around F. So he's a solid class. I must say that he feels really good. Overall, in terms of his damage, like, I know there are some complaints that, you know, single target focused is not the best. Not every class can be the best at everything. If you need a class which gives you a really good AoE and is easy to play, great mobility and stuff, Awakened Striker is great. Like, when I took him to Hex, it was so easy. Like, he was just melting everything. The AoE size and his kit just fit perfectly. So, you know, it depends on the spot, but overall, I think he's a solid class, amazing class, and you got 2 grabs, right? So, you know, Striker looking like he's in a good spot right now. I know, like, for every class, there's always going to be people who are like, it's not enough buffs. This, you know, the class isn't doing as good as that class. It's like, it's what it is, man. Play what's fun. If you're not having fun, what's the point of playing? Anyway, that was Striker. Then came Lahn. Lahn was a really interesting class because I never once played Succession Lahn before, so I played it for the first time. Her damage is legit. Like, I understand what everyone's talking about. It's just not for me because the way the root motion works for her skills, it's just not my thing. But I can see it. I can see it. You know, doesn't take many skills and does great damage. Like, she's a solid class, man. Succession's damage was truly, you know, one of those things that for years people say just play Lahn, and it's true. It's a really good class, seamless, smooth, and it's not a very intensive class either until you get to Awakening. Like, Awakening's cool factor is through the roof. It's at the level of like Awakened Hash. Like, it just looks so sick with her weapons and stuff, especially at Pen Blackstar and the glowing effects, and her skill animations are legit too. Like, it is a solid class. It just looks good, snappy, and, you know, her damage is pretty good too. I can't really compare to other classes as much because, you know, for a lot of these classes, skill factor is a thing. I mean, I wish I could like spend like a few weeks on every class, but unfortunately I only have like an hour or two. So overall, for me, it felt good. I liked it. So Lahn was definitely a fun class to try out. Then came Archer. Archer was my Node War main, and I absolutely love Archer because his cool factor in terms of how his skills move, and like, he's just such a stylish class. If you can like get the skating down and you get really good with his kit in general, like, he is such a cool class to watch. Like, I love watching montages from some of the good archers out there, not just like fragging out in Node Wars and stuff, but, you know, just even in small skill, the way he plays is just so satisfying to watch. So the thing about Archer is one of the few classes that don't have like a Succession and Awakening. It just came out with the Awakening. So because of that, his pre-awakened kit is actually pretty strong. Like, even in the recent buffs they did, they buffed its pre-awakened kit pretty well. The thing about him is he has a lot of root motion in his skills. Like, all the classes have root motion, right? But the thing is, for a melee class, when your skills are making you go forward and there's collision, it looks like you're just standing still. You're just, you know, pushing against the mob. So you just stand still in that way. Whereas Archer, a lot of his skills take him backwards. The root motion is sending him backwards. So if you don't want to suddenly be out of range of the mobs and have to backtrack, you have to be really good with your mobility, your meteor dives and stuff, and constantly be moving around, and also incorporating your pre-awakened kit. And his pre-awakened skills do a lot of damage. So it's not that it was a bad thing. It's not like it was like holding you back. They do a lot of damage. You can play him without the pre-awakened kit too, but, you know, if you want to bring out his full potential, you're going to have to utilize all his skills. Like, he's a very free flow class. I mean, not a set damage rotation. And even for a lot of classes, like, you know, if you want the best of the best rotation for a class, you're probably going to have to find it out yourself. I mean, you can reference some of the better players and experienced players on Discords and YouTube videos or Twitch streams, but you're going to have to figure it out for yourself, because your class is going to have, you know, a certain amount of damage at a certain amount of AP, and some classes scale differently at different AP points compared to other classes. And also, when you're grinding at a rotation and you have you know, 290 AP and someone in a video has 323 AP, like, you know, the difference is going to be huge. Their optimum rotation is not going to be your optimum rotation. So I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, you'd have to figure out for yourself. And Archer is a very free flow class, and it's really dependent on, you know, your positioning after which skills are on cooldown, which mobs are up, and where the mobs are in terms of their proximity to you. So you're always going to be using different things. So if you master like all his skills and you're able to play in that free flow manner, and, you know, you get that down, he does really good. He does really good numbers in terms of grinding. You know, it just takes time to get there, and, you know, you have to go really deep into learning a class. So unfortunately, I don't think I brought out his full potential in PvE, but I had fun. I definitely thought he was hitting pretty good. Then came a very anticipated class, the Dark Knight. I played Succession Dark Knight once, but I never once played Awakened Dark Knight. So, you know, Succession felt good, snappy, clean. I love the way her skills looked, felt. Damage was legit. I really like her catch with the slanted bounce. It's just really satisfying with the way her kit works. And I like DK. DK is a solid class. It feels good. But Awakened DK, oh boy. Everyone is saying her damage was busted, and until I tried it out, I didn't understand what they were saying. Like, the way, the size of her AoE, the range, the you know, the coverage, and like the damage in general, even in the single target perspective, she hit hard, man. Very satisfying to play. Like, I was just playing Awakened DK for fun on the side when I wasn't testing classes. Like, it was very smooth. Overall, I think she's a solid class. I definitely S+ tier waifu. So if that's kind of your thing, then, you know, you're in luck. Then it was Shai, complete opposite end of the spectrum in that regard. But hey, I played a lot of Shai in the summer. She was one of my tags because I wanted to get into Olins and start doing that. And I actually got to a point where I was pretty proficient with her. And, you know, not much changed. I hopped in and immediately started grinding pretty well. And she is one of the chillest classes in the game. Like, people don't believe me until I pull out the Shai and show them on stream that she is one of the chillest classes in terms of DPS rotation. It's so easy. Like, if you want something that is chill and consistently grind spot, like at a decent level, she's never going to be number 1 or, you know, even top 10 in a lot of spots, but she grinds decently. And, you know, she's the kingmaker. In group grind, she's a must. Like, if you want to go to Olins, you need a shot. So if you want to get into Olins and stuff, you know, perfect class. And her DPS isn't anything to, you know, look down upon. Like, the recent change giving her awakening weapon, or her soul, more monster AP, that was huge. That's a solid amount of DPS straight up for Shai. Like, it is an immense change for her, and she hits well. She hits well for what her class does, you know. Definitely put some respect to the name of Shai. So if you guys want to ever thought about playing it, but we're like, hey, I don't want to be just a support player or something, it's not much different. The only thing you're doing when you're in a group setting is, you know, you might be a bit more vocal in terms of when you're using Misty Haze. You might keep an eye on your party members' HPs to heal them, and, you know, you'll buff a bit more, you know, to make sure everyone got their buffs. But even if you're solo grinding, you're going to be using the same buffs anyway, so it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. It's not like playing a healer on WoW versus a DPS on WoW, right? So definitely, if you ever thought about trying her out, give it a shot. All right, now swinging back to the other side of the spectrum, we're at Guardian. Yo, like, Awakened Guardian hits different. Like, I know she's not the top DPS, but the size of her AoEs are phenomenal. Huge AoEs, man. Like, sometimes it's not fair. Like, if you're in like a mid-tier grind spot, or, you know, you're not like standing there trying to be the fastest DPS at DSR or anything, but you're at a decent grind spot, you got decent gear, the way she clears mobs with some of her skills, like not just God Incinerator or Shift F, Shift LMB, they hit well. Like, the size of her AoEs and the swipe, it's immense. Like, solid class. And it's one of the lower APM classes because, you know, her skills come off a bit slower, but they hit really hard and have a really big AoE. And, you know, she has some lingering skills, which can make it a you know, a bit of a lower APM class, which I'd recommend if there's anyone looking for something like that. So solid. Succession Guardian still solid. I know the recent changes were pretty, you know, a pretty nice bump that wasn't expected, but hey, you know, we take those. All right, now let's talk about Nova. Nova was one of my muses back in I'm gonna say like back in like September. Was it September? Maybe a month before that, I don't know. But yeah, she's one hell of a class, man. Like Succession Nova has one of the most satisfying skill animations that I absolutely love. I love that ice particle effects and stuff, like her awakened Meiwa and stuff. I'm a sucker for that kind of animation. So I tried maining her for a while some months ago. You guys look back on my stream, you'd probably have seen it, but the problem was it was very shift heavy that, you know, my pinky couldn't take it. So I'm like, yeah, the same for me, Chief. But she's a solid class, very tanky, really good AoEs, hits well. If you never tried her and you want something that, you know, you can be very safe on, she's definitely one of those classes. She's also not very, you know, low APM, because you're hitting a lot of skills in quick succession. But it's cool how some of her skills work where they chain into each other and they flow into each other pretty well. So it's a smooth class. I definitely like it, definitely recommend it if you want to be like one of those bunkers but have really good AoE. Her Awakening, on the other hand, she's a zoomer. People were talking about how crazy she was and stuff, and yeah, I can see it. Her damage is legit. Only thing is, you know, it takes practice to pull out her full potential, and I don't think I put in the hours for that. And I really didn't feel like pursuing that because I could see her potential. I can see she does well, and it's one of those things that you just need practice, and I didn't have that. But overall, I think, you know, if you're looking for that high APM assassin style, just zoom in, nuke someone, zoom out, you know, that kind of class, she's legit. In high-end PvE, like for a long time now, she's been, you know, one of the higher DPS classes and respected classes in terms of that. So the only thing is, like, I don't see that many of them because it is an intense class. High APM, you need to practice, you need to get good. Skill factor, the skill ceiling's pretty high there to pull out her full potential. Like, as an average player, I think you can still do really good. It's just one of those classes. Some of these classes in the game, man, you know, the ceiling is higher than it appears. I'll say that. Anyway, solid class, had fun. Then came the Sage. Like, I was actually at some point, like when I was playing Succession Sage, I'm like, before I didn't like the way he moved around and stuff, but now I'm okay with it. And him being one of the classes with like the highest accuracy in the game, I was very much tempted to roll him for PvP, and it's still in the cards. Like, he's solid, man. And the thing is, like, when I'm looking at his like skills and stuff, I don't understand what PA is trying to do here. Like, some classes are struggling for crit rate and they're like, I need death blow and shit. Meanwhile, this guy has like 100% crit rate on how many skills? Doesn't make sense, but he was solid, man. Like, Succession Sage, really good AoE, great damage, and, you know, he's got a lot of powerful self buffs, which, you know, you got to put some respect on. Awakened Sage, I didn't master. No, I played him for like an hour, but he uses a lot of skills. Like, it's not difficult, but it's effort. For me, it was a bit too sweaty, so I didn't really stick with it too long. I can see the potential there, but unfortunately, the amount of skills in his rotation was a bit of a turnoff. I did eventually learn it, and I did get decent at it, but I think the biggest factor for me that pushed me away from Awakened Sage is how the camera snaps around for some of his skills and some of the mobility. Very cool class, like one of the coolest looking fucking classes in the game, the way his skills work and stuff, but I didn't like the way the camera, you know, moves. I guess if I like practiced a bit more, like force myself to do, I'd get used to it, but no, I wasn't looking to do that. So sorry guys, but you know, all in all, I can see the potential there too. But solid class, at least Succession I was able to experience properly. And, you know, he's looking good. He's looking good. And then it was Corsair. Honestly, Succession, I've always been biased against it because I didn't like the particle effects on it, because I come from Awakened Mystic. If you compare Awakened Mystic's water particle animations with Corsair's, they look a bit different, and I never got used to Corsair Succession. So, you know, I tried it out. It was all right. But Awakened Corsair, now that was kind of my jam, because like, you guys know I like Archer, but Awakened Corsair also has like the kind of characteristics Archer has, where her mobility with her skills are really clean and satisfying. Like the way she moves side to side shooting and stuff is legit. I just don't understand why they couldn't just give her a gun. Like, I'm sure pirates had guns, right? Well, piracy's still a thing right now. I'm sure they use guns, so give her the damn gun. What is this stupid harpoon thing? And then it's like, hey, chill. There's a reason for that. It's a grab. Fucking harpoon someone, grab him. Some things in our kit were just like absolutely not. That vacuum, dude. The vacuum. I never knew about this, but if someone's like forward guarding, you vacuum. It's just nutty. Like, I remember someone was like doing some SA skill and I vacuumed it and I just like fucked them up. Like, they're like, where am I? It's like the damage on Awakened Corsair is pretty legit. The way she plays, smooth class. She's solid. She's solid. She's very much high on the list. I want to be a rat in RBF, you know. I'm definitely looking at Corsair. Then came Drakania. Like, one thing is, like, I tried out Awakened Drakania when it first came out, but I never really went back to it. And I tried out Succession Drakania a little bit, but I never really got into it. The way the class worked and stuff, I just never really got into it. But this time I gave it a legit shot and I like it. Like Succession Drakania, you know, she hits hard, you know, she's not as slow as I perceived her to be in the beginning. And if you use her skills and kit right, she hits pretty well and it's not bad. And that's not a, you know, I like sometimes slower classes, like slower hitting classes are good, but she's using multiple skills, and if you know how to cancel and chain into other skills, like, you know, she flows pretty well. So Succession Drakania is pretty solid in terms of her damage. Once again, you know, recurring theme. A surprise, I didn't master the class, but she was all right. She was all right. Not like broken top tier, S tier, but you know, she was all right. I did okay. Awakened Drakania, on the other hand, I tried really hard with her, and I got to a point where I was actually doing pretty good. And yeah, she's a pretty solid class. Like in PvE, yeah, she's not competing for number 1 or 2 spot, but the number of times I got fucked up in RBF by a Drakania flying in, just yeeting me, you know, that's a huge factor for her. She's a strong class, well protected, moves well. In terms of PvP, like, she's one of the queen flankers right now, so you know, props for that. And like, you know, that holds some weight in my decision on what class to play. Like, I did pretty decent with her PvE, but I wasn't doing like spectacular, but I think I can do better over time. Maybe it's just a practice thing, but I liked it. It's, you know, one thing about PA is they always come out with the weirdest classes, but they're unique. You know, I'll give them props for that. No one asked for like the mermaid pirate, but it's different. It's different from all the other classes, you know. I'll give credit where it's due. Drakania, also, the way her Awaken kit works, you know, I like it. All right, now let's quickly touch base on the twin classes. So compared to the other classes, I spent a bit less time on these because obviously there weren't any class balances, like not much class balances that went on. There was a few things that came through, especially for Awaken Megu. But you know, first thing, Wusa is still a solid class. I mean, just because the other classes got stronger doesn't mean they left her in the dust. She's still pretty good. She's decent. Awakened Wusa, on the other hand, I love Awakened Wusa. I've always been very biased because her particle effects are so beautiful and satisfying. I would play her just for that. My only complaint about her even now is like, she's very static. I don't like classes which are too static in that regards, because you know, I do want a PvP on the side. And Awakened Wusa compared to Succession, you know, I feel like she stands still a bit too much, that she'd never be in my top pick. In terms of just PvE, she'd be really high up there because she still pulls good trash loot. Like compared to, you know, other classes, even after the buff, she's still decent. She's not like it down bad, but I think that PvP factor is a thing that holds me back. But overall, she's still a beautiful class, man. Now Megu, you know, Succession's still a solid class, and Awakening got a bit of love in these balance patches. I don't think I mastered it. I think that was a factor for me. I was doing decent. The damage was pretty decent, but I feel like there's a barrier I can't go past. Maybe it's like a skill issue. Maybe it's something with the class, but you know, I thought she was decent. If you like the way her skills move, I think it's a class that you should consider playing. I think that was the biggest factor for a lot of these classes. Is, you know, their innate mobility is a huge factor. It's not just, you know, how APM intensive it is, but their innate mobility, as well as the key combinations that you're constantly pressing onto keyboard and mouse. And you know, it just wasn't for me, but I think it was fun to play. It was fun to experience. You know, they always come out with something different, right? Speaking of which, the latest class, the Scholar, which I was not very happy about. I didn't log into the game for a couple days after they announced Scholar. I'm just being a petty little child about this, but I wanted a necromancer. I didn't want some hammer chick. And then they go stereotypical, and it's like something like along the lines, there's nothing me hammers can't solve or something. I like the way they make her talk and stuff. I'm like, so stereotypical. Just make her a dwarf. I mean, how desperate are you for the money, for the mullahs, because of the costumes and stuff? Like, they didn't even release many costumes for her, even for Wusa and Megu and, you know, some of the newer classes. Like, why did she need to be a chick? There's literally double the number of chicks than dudes in this game now. You understand that? 18 to 9. 2 to 1 is not a very good ratio in that regard. Like, we all love the waifu classes, but this is excessive now. Like, I will not consider BDO an MMORPG anymore. It's a waifu simulator. I will not change that categorization until the ratio comes to 1 to 1.5. Male to female, 1 to 1.5. Until then, it's a waifu simulator. It's not an MMORPG anymore. Damage is great. Mobility is great. The way she plays is unique. I really liked it. I tagged it and grinded DSR for quite a bit. She's got potential. I feel like her AoE could be a bit bigger. Her self buffs are really good, and it's just unique, and you know, just jumping around, hopping around, you know, not a bad class. I mean, like, they always come out with unique stuff, and I really appreciate that. So, you know, overall, if it was a dwarf, it'd be like fucking awesome. Like, I would instantly keep it as my tag. Imagine a little dwarf dude just flying around, throwing that hammer, jumping in the air and smashing. It would have been great. They really missed out, man. They really missed out. PA, this was an L for you in terms of the gender choice there. You should have just made it a dwarf. Oh my god. I don't know why they did that. It's all money. Obviously, we know it's money. They said it themselves when they released a Shai back in the day. When Shai came out in the dev blog, they specifically said they make the highest amount of revenue from Pearl Shop sales when they release a female DPS class. Their words exactly. I understand. I saw your financial report. You're struggling, but I think you should have made it a dwarf. At least, you know, you still have the opportunity. You know, I know I was pretty mad that it wasn't necromancer, but maybe their heart wasn't into it. It would have been better that they release a necromancer when they really wanted to release a necromancer and make it really good and fun. So, you know, you can do your next male sword class dude, whatever you're looking at, but then shift your eyes to necromancer. That is the future of BDO. If you don't, I'll quit. All right. That's enough for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble about all these classes and my experiences with them. I'll definitely come out with a conclusive video going over all the classes once the balance patches and everything are complete. I don't know if I'll do it in terms of tier list or something. Probably not. I have a different idea, which I think would be a lot more useful for you guys, but you know, we'll figure it out. We'll see how everything plays out. I'm really curious to see those PvP changes come through. We did see them in global labs, but they weren't implemented. So, you know, hoping they come through. Some of them are pretty funny. They like me. They're like, you know what? Less CC for you. Like, why? You're giving everyone more protection than you're giving some classes less CC now? Like, you know, whatever. I'm sure they know what they're doing, but hey, let's see how things play out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do like, comment, and subscribe, and check me out at twitch.tv/I'mPansy, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take it easy, folks. Peace.